Hello world of YouTube. So it's been a while since I've made a video. I haven't had much to do because it's been winter and I don't do much outside in the winter because it's freaking cold and it sucks. Behind me you can see it's my 52 Chevy. So the goal is, what my plan is to get the car running. The car is bagged, so I have to get the airbags up. And then once it's aired up, I'm gonna put some jack stands under it, because the intention is to tear out the interior today. So this old car, it currently has just some blankets thrown over the old seats. And then the carpeting on the bottom is pretty old and rotted. Well, it's not rotted, but it's dirty, ugly. It's got these old rubber mats in the front and only carpet in the back. And I want to redo the interior as much as I can by myself. Right now I'm not going to tackle the ceiling. That's just a little much. But from the doors down, I want to do new carpet, which I have ordered. I'm going to be replacing these Mexican blankets with some different Mexican blankets, a different color that I think will go better with the car. And then the door cards we're going to take off. My goal is to put some Mexican blanket on the door here. And I purchased some metal flake vinyl, like boat vinyl, that I'm going to put on this bottom edge and then on the handles. And I'm going to see if I might be able to peel off this fabric here that's on the seats and put that boat vinyl on here, as well as up in that back window. I think that boat vinyl would look pretty cool in there, filling all that. And I should probably say I have no experience doing any of this. This is the first classic car that I've ever owned long enough to do any projects on. I've had a couple of different, well, this is my second car. I had a 1928 Hudson Essex rat rod that turned out to be a pile of shit. So I sold that car and I picked up this 52 Chevy that was already running. Had some cool features that I liked a lot, so I decided that I wanted this car instead. So this will be my first project on a car. I've tinkered with motorcycles in the past and done some cool stuff. And I know I'm going to have some people asking, so I'll just go ahead and show. It's still got the inline 6 in the car with a single carburetor. At some point, I would like to put in aluminum header and a different carb setup, maybe a dual. I've heard 3 carbs can be tricky to dial in these cars, so I think just getting a dual setup would be better than a single. I had it all rewired last year by Bruce Henning Hot Rods. Rest in peace, Bruce. He just passed away recently, lost his battle with cancer. He was a really amazing guy. But the business is still going. So if you want to get anything done in the Dubuque area, Henning Hot Rods is the place to go. They wired this thing up pretty quickly for me from the 6 volt to 12 volt. The only thing I've really done on the car since I got it is I had to replace the radiator. The old one had a few pinhole leaks. I took it out. I took it somewhere to get it cleaned out, pressure tested, and it added a whole bunch more pinhole leaks, so I had to get rid of it. So I upgraded to an aluminum radiator. And it seems to be working pretty well since I did that. And then for those that are curious, this is my airbag setup. When I first bought the car, it only had one small compressor. So I purchased this Vier system. That was the tank that was already in here. I think it's 3 gallon. I'm not really sure. I don't know a lot about this stuff. Like I said, it's my first foray into classic cars. And then that was the old 12 volt battery setup. So the car was running 6 volt electric, but it had a 12 volt alternator that ran this battery back here. I'm thinking about pulling out all of this matting and putting in sound deadener back here, because this thing does get pretty loud. And I might put a piece of plywood behind the seat when I get the seats out and deaden that as well to help kind of buffer this. Yeah, so that's the trunk and my airbag system. Battery's dead in the car, so I'm gonna let that charge. Since my battery's dead in the 52, thought maybe I'd come over here and show the gearheads that are into cars and bikes and things. My 79 Ironhead Sportster Chopper that I built. It's probably been over a decade ago now that I built this thing. I've had a couple other bikes since then and gotten rid of them, but this one I'll never get rid of because it was my first bike. I bought it back in 2004, and in that condition it was just stock, made a ratty bobber out of it. I sold it to my cousin and bought it back a year or so later, a couple years later I think. And then I chopped the frame, put on a lead sled custom hardtail, and made it look like this. So this is my 1979 Ironhead Sportster. It's obviously not a stock bike anymore. I cut the frame off and put this lead sled custom hardtail. I took some stock drag pipes and cut them up and made these pipes out of them. Added the kicker, and then a DNA Springer front end, 21-inch front wheel. The rear is a stock 16, and then I'm trying to think what else I did. Got this custom side mount license plate. The third brake disc, I had a couple issues with the DNA brake that locked up on it. I had to replace those because they got dished out. But now I got Performance Machine brake. It's kind of hard to see down underneath there, but we got a Performance Machine brake on there now. Works great. DNA brake was a piece of crap. This little battery box I made myself. Got some sheet metal. I don't remember the thickness of it, but cut it up, drilled out all the holes. I tack welded it, and I had a buddy of mine do the final welding because I'm not a welder. Then I just hit it with some truck bed liner to give it some texture. Same thing with the frame. The frame is all truck bed liner. I couldn't afford to take it to a powder coater, so I figured that was a good way to make a durable paint on the frame. I wasn't caring about it being all polished and shiny. So I don't really wash my bikes, I just ride them. My uncle, my late Uncle Glenn, he used to work at a chrome shop, so I had him copper plate this Goodson air cleaner for me. He copper plated the risers, and I'm trying to remember what else. Oh, the back fender, duh. And then instead of leaving it patina, I thought it'd be a good idea to clear coat it. Well, you can see the clear coat's kind of coming off over the years, and now it looks like there's just a bunch of bird shit all over the fender. But I don't know, maybe at some point I'll wet sand all that clear off to get down to the copper and just let it patina and get that green color, so that's kind of cool. I think this is a 3.1 gallon Sportster tank, Frisco mounted. Petcock's back here, and then it's got a CV carb in it. I picked it up, it was on a soft tail. Picked it up at a swap meet, came off of a soft tail, like an 80s I think, or 90s soft tail, the guy said. And then I just had to get a bracket in there to make it a little more custom to fit this Ironhead. But it works great, man. The original carb that was on this thing was a piece of crap, didn't work very well. The front and back wheels I had powder coated, but the guy that I took them to, he did not strip the chrome, so the paint's coming off, unfortunately. Needless to say, I was kind of irritated about that when the paint started to chip, and I realized that I wasted my money paying that asshole for doing that. So it is what it is. It's just part of the old patina, I guess. This was just a standard headlight. I drilled the hole in the top, put in the switch so I can go from lows to high beam. I just brass painted this. I think that's the same kind of color as the tank. It's like a gold, brassy gold. The brake lever, I shaved off the ball, sanded that all down because I didn't want it sticking way the hell out here. These bars are from Biltwell, and I cut 3.5 inches off of each side. So I cut 7 inches off the bars to narrow them more. So I thought that looked way cooler because they stuck out quite a ways. I wanted a real skinny bike, so that's what I did with those. I picked up this seat at a swap meet at the Smokeout in South Carolina or North Carolina. I can't remember what year I went there, but this was sitting in a box of shit. I think I paid the guy like $10 for the seat, and it's pretty badass. And then I just picked up these springs from Lowbrow Customs. I snagged that oil tank off of eBay, and then I just bought a plug cap for it. My friend Bill Golly wired up the bike when I got ready for that part. Kevin Clement, that owns Hoghouse Customs, he rebuilt the tranny. So it was kicking out of second gear all the time, so I hadn't put new gears in and put it in the kickstart. I picked this Buffalo Head nickel up at the Wisconsin Dells. We went on a train ride, and a little gift shop had these coins. So I snagged one, drilled it out, made it my points cover. Grips came from Lowbrow. I think I got the risers off of eBay. They're just 1-inch risers, real low. Of course, the vintage Harley gas cap running upside down. The only thing left on this entire bike that's actually stock is that rear wheel, the motor, and the front loop of the frame. Everything else is completely either modified parts or new replacement parts. There's not much left of this old 79 Ironhead. When I built it the first time, I built it in my kitchen. That was pretty rad. I didn't have a girlfriend at the time and no wife to tell me no, so that's what I did. Alright, the bags are completely aired up, so we're going to get the jack under this thing, get it up on these jack stands. Should probably put some gloves on, it's cold as hell in this garage. Alright, jack stands are in place. This seems sketchy as fuck to me. I don't know. I'm sure a lift is way better way to do all of this, but I don't have that option. I'm just gonna push on the car a little bit, see how it sits on these things, because I'm gonna be having to climb around in here and loosen bolts and shit like that to get the seats out. So I want to make sure it's gonna stay. If not, I want to do the damage now before I'm under the goddamn thing. It's not like I expect anything to come from the side and hit it, but I figure, you know, doing some kind of movement. It seems pretty sturdy. I didn't hear anything moving, scraping, anything like that. I do not expect this to be done today. This is probably going to be a few weeks of doing all this tear out, redo, at least. But I want to get it done by May 1st. That's Vintage Torque Fest here in Dubuque, Iowa. So let's try to do that. So this goes to show how much of an amateur I am. I assumed that there was probably going to be a nut underneath of the frame or the body on the bottom end, and it seems like it just like screws into some type of a casting nut that's already in the body, so I don't have to fuck around under the car. So I probably didn't even have to raise this whole thing off the ground. We're learning together. Or you're laughing at me. Take a look here. Here's one of the screws. I already took that one out. Yeah, there's apparently threading in the body, so I don't have to worry about going under the car. But that's fine. I'm learning. So this is a bit of awesome irony. I was over here ready to pull these seat bolts out, and right here in the floor, no shit, there's a buffalo head nickel, which I thought was really cool because I was just showing. That's what I have on my primary. I gotta clean this thing up a little bit or something, but that was in the car. And I just filmed this and talked about it. I love those little ironies in life. Those little synchronicities. That's pretty badass, man. So cool. I had to go and look on YouTube, figure out how to remove this seat back. So I've never done it in an old car. And then down here on each corner, they have these little pieces here that I gotta bend out, and then it pops off right there. So I'm gonna have the wife hold the phone and record while I try to do this. Yeah, it's definitely loose in here. I just gotta figure out how to finagle it out of its hole.
Get out of your hole! Hey!
It's just a matter of wiggle wobble, and eventually it comes out. Okay, I see. So the top bracket was hooking into these on here. I just had to lift it up and wiggle it out, so not too difficult once you know what to do.
So thank you.
Thanks,
Google.
YouTube. All right, so I got my COVID mask on. My wife wanted me to make sure I didn't catch hantavirus or polio or whatever might be in this car because I got to deal with all this dust and stuff, so enjoy the look. So we got some Craigslist body work here. They put some pieces of rubber over a hole and another hole. So that's pretty lame. I'm gonna have to see what I can do to fix that up without getting too crazy. Do some type of patchwork here.
Bondo.
Oh, I don't want Bondo. I might put some sheet metal in here.
License plate.
Figure out how to do it. Yep, that's probably the old good old way. Throw a license plate in there, rivet it in. What's under this piece now? Oh, that's actually not bad. There's to get to the brake master cylinder, I believe. Under that thing. I don't even know how the hell you open that. Can't get my fingers in there. It looks like it's aluminum, so I can't get a magnet on it. It's supposed to go underneath and push it up. That's pretty stupid. Let's see if I can pry this plate up somehow. That just seems illogical on how you're supposed to check this. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to open this up better than this. So that's clearly not working. All right, we'll come back to that. So we're just gonna start scraping out all the crap in the car that needs to come out. Okay, so to access the master cylinder, you got to go under this. But if you can see, right there on the edge, the metal comes up under the metal of the floor. So there's no way to open the damn door at all. So I'm gonna have to completely remove this from the car, figure out an easier way to open this space, and put something back here. That is just idiotic. I can't believe someone set that up like that. All right, we're gonna drill out this old plate, get this inspection plate out of here because it's clearly not working. Ooh, that's gonna be hot. Well, that's dumb. There we go. It's gonna happen every time. Probably I'll just deal with it at the end. Oh, they have a whole fixing up there too. So they had all them rivets in one actual screw. So I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver quick.
Okay.
Dumbasses. Yeah, it's just gonna strip it out. It is stripping it out. So I guess I'm just gonna try to drill that out too. Problem solved. All right. So there is our brake master cylinder. Obviously, bad placement. I don't know why old cars used to do that. Seems pretty damn idiotic, but that's what we got. So anyway, I'm gonna have to figure out a different way of either mounting this properly or building a completely different setup. I think I could just scoot it back some and remount it and just try to get something on here so that I can actually open the damn thing.
Like a handle?
Yeah, I gotta have something though that's not gonna impede where my foot sits.
Right.
So it'll have to be flat, but yeah, this sits better at least, but yeah, you still can't open it.
Well, if you put like a cut into it, where you could just put your fingers or put a...
Well, then you're gonna have water coming up underneath on the road. So you gotta think of that too. But there's gotta be a way to do this. I'm sure I can find something online that somebody else did to figure out a way to make this work. But at least I can open it if I move it back and just patch it in the proper way. So anyway, we got it out. All right, so the next phase of the clean out, I got a bucket of Dawn soap and a little wire brush. I'm just gonna scrape and clean all the metal, and then we'll do a rinse or two and vacuum all this stuff out of it. I don't want to use any like brake cleaner or nothing, because then it's just gonna stink like that. So anyway, we're gonna get to work on this part. But first, it's getting hot in here, so I'm gonna take off all my clothes. Just kidding, just the one shirt. I got too many layers on. I'm getting sweaty in here. All right, let's get to work. Oh, my knees. This metal doesn't feel good. I realized that I didn't need the jack stands to put the car up and get the seats out, but I'm glad that I did it because I don't have to bend down as much when I'm doing this stuff. Just bending over as much as I am is bad enough on my back, but if it was on the ground, it'd be a lot worse to do this cleaning, so it's kind of nice. Plain old water, rinse, suck.
I think that's it for the soap and water. We're gonna get some air this out a little bit, roll down the windows so it can air out. So we're all done with the air. The rest of this is just gonna get dry on its own. I'm not gonna go through here and get too crazy with it. We blew out the majority of the water so that it can actually just start to dry in the air. Next weekend, I'm gonna take these door cards off and these interior panels because all that's gonna get reupholstered as well. So that'll be the next project. Not sure what you got going on today, but it seems like a great day to chase your dreams. I'm gonna get back to living mine. I'll see you next time.